Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to hit some footage on my favorite baits for the month of November. Hey, let's dive into it. We'll see you out there. Alright guys, first bait that I'm picking up in the month of November, the jerkbait, specifically the deep diving jerkbait. This time of the year in my part of the country, bass are going to start to move from the shallow water out to the deep weed edge. The number one bait I'm going to pick up this time of the year is the deep diving jerkbait. Here you have the Rapala Shadow Wrap in the deep model. This bait hits 8 to 10 foot on a long cast, 10-pound fluorocarbon. I have caught so many fish on a jerkbait, and specifically a deep diving jerkbait this time of the year. I can't even tell you, right? Some of my best days on the water in November have come on the jerkbait. I have ultimate trust in it. You just got to work it slower. 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-second pauses. You got to use your electronics, find those schools of fish. You can absolutely, positively light them up. Now, you got to dial your gear in on the jerkbait, but this time of year, this is the first bait that I am going to pick up. Let's check out some footage. Easy fish. Hey, look at that. On the board. On the jerkbait. And he's buried it. But this time of year, when the water, there we go. There we go. Nice little fish. See you later. Good one. I got a nice bass and all the weeds in the lake. Ugh. Ugh. Look at that. Nice bass. So guys, what I'm doing here, in the fall, you're fishing almost everything bait fish dependent. I'm fishing this Megabass Vision 110 right here in the Pro Blue clear color. The water clarity is great. I'm fishing an offshore hump out here, right on the lake. There's an offshore hump out here. It comes to about 6-7 feet. I'm keeping it in 10 to 12. I'm throwing that jerkbait around those tufts of grass we saw on the sonar. The fish are coming out of the grass to hit that jerkbait, right? Let's get some more. All right, guys. Second bait I'm picking up, the flat-sided crankbait. If you have off-colored water, the crankbait is the literal go-to bait for this time of year. The water begins to turn over, the color in it changes, the weeds begin to die back. The flat-sided crankbait, and you can see this one's all chewed up from last year. This is the Rapala OG Slim, right? In the 06 size, and this is a killer. Crawfish, orange belly, in that 50 to 40 degree water temp, you're going to light them up with this, right? I trust this bait on windy, cloudy condition days when the jerkbait isn't getting it done, or you need to get into the cover, grind it through some stuff, some rock, some wood. Rock and wood hold them this time of the year. They see a lot of jigs, they see a lot of Ned rigs, stuff like that. The crankbait can absolutely light them up. The flat-sided crankbait has a special place in my heart in the fall, especially around cover, right? I also like to mix it up from the OG Slim with the original Rapala, right? and the original Rapalas with bigger hooks, right? I always upsize my hooks on this bait because I want it to slowly rise, right? This is the deep runner version of it, but I love this crankbait right here. You can see the teeth marks on it. It's got that crawfish red, but it's still also got that baitfish profile on it. This bait right here, I threw a lot last year with a lot of success in the cold water period. Anywhere there's rocks, any type of hard structure or cover, I was grinding this bait around it, and I was catching them in 4 and 5 feet of water, right? If you can find rock and shell in grass lakes, or you can find cinder blocks or things that are crushed up, this bait will absolutely light it up for you, right? Flat-sided crankbaits, when the water gets cold, are an absolute go-to. All right, guys, bait number 3 for the transition fish, the chatterbait, specifically the Mini-Max. I love throwing the Mini-Max this time of the year because bait is smaller and bait is moving around a lot. The Mini-Max also has a different vibration. That, you know, evergreen jackhammer has a really hard thump. The Mini-Max has a higher pitched whine to it almost. And if I'm fishing deeper structure or cover, this gets down quicker and I can wind it through those places. I'm going to subdue my trailer a lot. I've got a Rage Craw on here, and it's a great trailer, but I like to subdue the trailer a little bit more in cold water. But I've just did a whole video about chatterbaits. Watch my last video. I'll throw a link up there for it. But literally, this bait right here has caught me a ton of fish in cold water. Plus, the Mini-Max is a good change up on a classic. Hey, let's roll some footage. Check it out.
There we go.
Fish on. Ooh, there you go.
That's a good one. Let's go. There we go.
Fish on. Ooh, there you go.
That's a good one. Let's go. Number 1 right there. They're always thick out here. Chatterbait. Let's go.
All right, guys. Next lure is the blade bait and the spoon, right? I've caught a ton of fish underneath bait balls on the spoon this time of year, vertical fishing. If you can get over a dip in the contour and you can find a bunch of bait stacked up and you drop a spoon through it, bass are going to absolutely nail this bait, right? You can also chuck and wind a spoon, right? A lot of guys in the summer are ripping it up off the bottom. Chris Zaldane fishes that huge 8-9 inch spoon, does stuff like this. This is a 3-inch spoon right here. This is almost a trout bait right here. And what I do with this is I vertically fish it over these bait balls, and when it goes underneath that bait ball, bass will come up and light it up, because this time of the year when the water's getting colder, bass love, love, love to come into those bait schools and eat dying shad. Nothing does it better than a blade bait or a spoon. You can also chuck and wind this through shallow cover and bump it along, right? Bass just don't see something like that. People used to fish weedless spoons and all that stuff all the time. It's something that bass don't see a lot of. So doing something different sometimes can get you bit. Plus this has a good thump on it and has a wide wobble and a fall. You can kill it in potholes, do different stuff with it. A lot of different ways to fish this piece of metal right here. Spoon, great option. Give it a shot. Last bait here that I caught on to at the tail end of winter, moving into the spring, and that is speed cranking, right? Guys at Tactical Bassing designed this bait, the Tactical DD Crank, to literally be hustled through the water as fast as you can. And it's the same principle as an Alabama rig. Tons of guys throw the Alabama rig in the winter. For good reason, it catches fish. But at the same time, you can get the same reaction bite from fish with a crankbait. And I'm talking about burning this thing in 39, 40 degree water. I was burning this thing in 12 to 15 feet of water over grass patches and what was left there, or schools of bait, and bass were absolutely coming unglued, right? I wish I would have got it on film. I didn't believe in it when I first tried it until I lit them up that day on this crank. Now, the Tactical DD Crank has amazing color schemes, but what I want to focus on this is I'm not throwing it slow and riding it through there. I'm burning that bait and then pausing it, burning that bait and pausing it, burning that bait and pausing it. I'm hoping to do a full video on these when the weather conditions get right to start burning that bait. But speed cranking in the wintertime can absolutely positively get it done, right? So the baits that I've talked about today, right? First thing I pick up, the jerkbait, right? Jerkbait, number one bait that I pick up. Second bait, flat-sided crankbait. Third bait, chatterbait, right? Fourth bait, the spoon. Last but not least, you have that speed crank. The other bait that I'm gonna shout out to specifically this time of year that becomes a big player, once again, the single swim bait, right? The single swim bait, absolutely, as the water gets colder, the single swimmer is a straight up killer. So here's your sixth bonus bait right here, the single swimmer. I am a cover water guy, always, right? I do not like to slow down in the winter and fish bottom baits and bump it along. But if you swim this bait along on the bottom, it will absolutely positively get smoked. Here is a 6 Sense fishing the whale on a Tactical Bass and Matt Allen swim jig head. And this bait will absolutely get crushed in cold water conditions. Give it a shot, the single swimmer, right? Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. We cut some video in there for you to show you some stuff. The weather has been absolutely abysmal the past couple days. We're hoping to get back out. We're hoping to get some more underwater content for you. That's been going off. But we hope that you enjoy the content. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we will see you on the water next time.